why we're doing it, because it is the way he wanted it done. May not be traditional, but we can do without tradition at this point. My name is Benny Patton. I will be kind of hosting, acting as the master of ceremony for the new short program that we have. Very simple, and we will just follow it, and hopefully at the end everybody will be pleased and glad that you came. The occasion, as I said, is because of the celebration for our friend Clifford Clarke. I was his friend, you were his friend, consequently, we are friends. So, with that in mind, we still just want to remain upbeat and enjoy the occasion. The club, Ellie Bridge Unit, is hosting. I have the president here who I would like for her to officially welcome you to this casual celebration. Ms. Hardy White.
Thank you, Benny. To the family and friends of Clifford Clarke, we of the Los Angeles Bridge Unit welcome you. We feel that we were Clifford's family too. We play bridge 3 to 5 days a week, most of us. Clifford played with us. We were with him in Chicago, just this past Chicago, if you all remember, and we have been with him for the last 3 years very, very much. Many years ago, before we got our clubhouse, Clifford was our legal advisor. He worked in many areas with various clubs. I just want to say to you that we are part of Clifford's family too. Will all the members of the Los Angeles Bridge Unit just raise your hands, please? This is our bridge family here with you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Continuing down the short program, we'll have a selection by Reese Jackson. So that's you on the program.
Good morning. As we know, Mr. Clarke loved the water and the ocean. The selection I'm going to read this morning is entitled The Ocean by Susan Powers. I sit and think when sunset's gold is touching ocean, hill, and shore, I shall one day stand by the water cold and listen for the sound of the fisherman's oar. I shall watch for a gleam of the flapping sail. I shall hear the boat as it gains its strand. I shall pass from sight with the fisherman's pail to the better shore of that distant land. I shall know all those who have gone before, and joyful sweet will the meeting be, when over the ocean the angel shall also carry me. To the Clarke family, when our hearts are saddened by the loss of the one we love, the courage that we truly need comes from only above. Though these words are such small comfort when sorrow has touched your hearts, please find comfort in knowing that the happy memories, loving thoughts, and in knowing that he is at peace.
Following the program, we get into now the meat part of the entire service. We'll have reflections. But first, I would like for Gary and Christina to introduce the guests at the head table, just the relatives, members of the family, anyone that they would just like to recognize. Is Gary around? Oh, he ducked out. Oh, thanks.
Thank you for everyone coming. I want to introduce my family that is here today. Unfortunately, my mother and aunt haven't made it here yet, just yet. But why don't you stand up individually? This is Janine Andrews. She's my cousin by way of my aunt, my my father's sister. She is an attorney up in San Francisco right now. This is my sister, Christine Clarke. Please stand up. She's shy. Next to her is my cousin, Calvin Chen. This is James Bigsby. This is James Bigsby Sr. And this is Leah Chen. This is Nita, which is the mother of James Bigsby Jr. This is Nita. Did I say Leah? Sorry. This is my mother, Mrs. Clarke. And we have over here at this table is another cousin of my father's, Antoinette Carter, and her husband. My brother. I'm sorry. And then let's see. Marion. Marion Evelyn over here. And I just want to thank everybody for coming. My father lived a full life and lived a life that he wanted to lead. And he lived it his way. So he, you know.
Okay. There are a few people that were listed that were requested to first have a few words to say. Certainly if there are any members of the family who would just recognize if you care to say something, you certainly have the floor right now at this time. Beyond that, and continuing, I'd like to introduce to those of you who don't know him, Dr. Manning. Dr. Manning is a longtime friend of Clifford, and he has a podium first.
Clifford and I were friends for 3 decades. But strangely enough, our friendship did not depend on bridge. We only played twice, once in 1963 and again in 1997. The first time we played together, we were on a team with Pat Spain, who was here, and Guy Dobbs, and we won a tournament in the ACBL League, first team from the ABA to do such. Cliff and I had a mutual admiration society, and it depended on our professional backgrounds. I was the family doctor, took care of Cliff, his mother, his daughter, and his son. Cliff took care of my legal problems as best he could. The thing that was outstanding was Cliff's love of the ocean. He felt so strongly about it that he tried to recruit me as a member of the Nautical Society. Dr. Oliver Foster, who is here today, and I were guests of Cliff's on his boat. As we moved into the channel, we noted that the boat was being flooded with water and was rapidly sinking. Cliff was erudite enough to figure out that the main pipe had not been connected by a workman who had worked on the boat the previous week. And he started the pumping procedure, and I was thinking about jumping overboard. Following taking care of this little matter, I was carrying a fishing pole that a friend had given me, and it cost about $10. And in retrieving the pole, I dropped my expensive watch in the water. Dr. Foster had brought on enough food to sink the Queen Mary, and I became sick following trying to eat all that food that was on board. Cliff said, "Well, we'll come back a couple of weeks." I said, "I'll call you." And it was an enduring friendship. The legal profession has lost a star member. The community at large has lost a Renaissance man. The Bridge Club has lost our great bridge playing friend, and I have lost a brother.
operates pretty good. By the way, Clifford hasn't gone anywhere. He's still around here somewhere watching. But he's punishing me. This is the first time I've ever had to do this kind of punishment. I know he wouldn't go anywhere if he saw it. This is punishment for all the abuse I gave him at the witch day. But such is life, such is life. James Bigby.
Good morning, everyone. Like all of you, Cliff was more than a friend. He was a relative to me, and one of my very dear fishing buddies. He basically taught me everything I know about fishing, and I would dearly miss him. But I'm not going to speak of fishing this morning. I'm going to go back even a little further than that. As a little kid, I lived in the water, and as you all know, Cliff loved the water. And it was one of those warm, hot summers, and my brother and I were playing in the pool, and my mom opened up the back door and yelled out, "Biggs, Cliff and Gary are coming over to swim with you." And I thought it was about the greatest thing that could happen. I was like, oh, we got company. We're going to have friends, relatives. And they came by, and it was the worst day of my life. I mean, he picked me up, threw me in the water, drugged me underwater.
Gary's just
I'm
like
trying to get out of the pool. He's pulling me back in. We were scrambling around, and I couldn't believe it. It was horrible. And needless to say, Gary sitting on the side just laughing.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wait till they went home. It was about a month or two later, same incident. My brother and I were in the pool, and my mom yelled out, "Guess what? Cliff and Gary are coming over." Man, we jumped up and when Gary got there, he's like, "Biggs, how come you guys are underwater?" I was like, go on. I couldn't wait till they left again so I could get in the water. But like everyone here, I'm going to miss him dearly. The Lord tells us one thing, that everyone must go and he takes them with him. But the teachings and the love that he has bestowed upon all of us will always be there forever.
As you came in the back door, there was a register. We hope that each of you signed the register, your name and address. And next to the register should have been a little tip can. It had a benefit organization. It was spelled F-O-R-M-E. That's for me. Last I heard, Eddie Thomas had a can. We have another guest speaker. It's Antoinette Carter. Antoinette Carter. This may be a surprise to you too. I don't know. But your name was listed. Please say.
Thank you very much. Joanne did ask me to speak here today, but it's difficult. I know it's only a moment. Well, Junior, as we talked him, lived with us for a short period of time when he was going to UCLA. And he was indeed a great tease. The tease and enjoyed it immensely. His sister and I are very, very close, Joanna. And as teenagers, we'd sit there and giggle and laugh at absolutely nothing for hours. And he thought we were the silliest people ever. And then he would turn around and tease us and get the big kick out of it. He'd also sit for hours and debate with my mother about the Bible. And she would get him every time because she was a student of the Bible. And he was very logical in his approach, and he'd shake his head and say, "Oh, I admit, you won again." But he'd come right back, and all over again he'd start, and she'd be ready for him. And they just enjoyed it. Clifford was wonderful. A wonderful, supportive family. We loved him. Miss him. Thank you.
Well, we get now to the junkie part. We've got some others, and most of you, I'm sure, would like to say a word or two. But at this point, let me caution you, remind you that following this celebration, there's another event to take place. So we're going to have speeches from those of you who wish to say a word or two. But let me caution you to please kind of limit your speeches to 2-3 minutes perhaps, and then everybody will get a chance. I certainly would like for those who want to say something at this time to have that opportunity. But the last person, I say this because this next guy coming up, he just might talk all day. He has a lot to say, real and unreal to it. So is Dr. Foster here, Oliver Foster, well, Pierre.
Thank you, Ben. I'm not going to talk long, but everybody who knew Cliff knew that Cliff was not shortchanged in life. He did everything that he could imagine that he ever wanted to do, and he enjoyed doing it. And I'm sure everybody who's around here in this room today can express some type of an enjoyment that you had with Cliff when you were with him that you would never forget. I'm not going to bother you with all those things that Cliff beat me up about, and Benny also, but you know, Cliff was not just limited to bridge. He played pinochle, dirty horse, and gin, and everything else. But fishing, of course, you know he liked to do. But he also, you know, told a good story every once in a while too, and a good joke. One thing that I can always remember about Cliff when I first met him about 30 some odd years ago, he was driving a little yellow Mercedes Benz that really it looked like a toy because he kept it polished and shined all the time, had red leather in it, and I enjoyed whenever he asked me to ride with him. And one day I asked him, I said, "Cliff," I said, "Man, you know, when you're awfully young and doing your thing," I said, "but boy, this is a brand new car, and somebody really was nice to you." He said, "Ollie," he said, "you won't believe it, but I have told people not to mess with me." And he said, "You know, I had a Standard Oil credit card." And he said, "I paid my bill like I was supposed to on time all the time. And they continued to harass me about that. They're paying that Standard Oil gas bill that I knew had been paid. And after I found all my council checks and had written them letters and asked them to stop bothering me about paying that bill, and they didn't, you're riding in it right now." Whenever they needed somebody to beat up on in the pinochle game or the bridge game, they'd call me because they knew I was always home. But Cliff would have enjoyed this surroundings because he wouldn't want us shedding tears or doing anything other than what we're doing, laughing and talking about him and having a good time. And that's the way Cliff was, and I'm happy to see that everybody recognizes that he's out there swimming pretty soon, and he's going to be doing his thing. Thank you very much.
Okay, as I said, for those of you who wish to say a few words, this opportunity, you will get that opportunity. And I don't know if there's any specific order, but while one person is speaking and saying those good things that they want to say about Clifford, the next person can just kind of line up behind it, and we can move pretty fast. So the president of his local district, I think she may want to say something. Marceline Lindsay? Surprise, huh? Now the next person, whoever that might be, I could call some names, but I really don't know everybody here. So when you come up to the phone, up to the speaker rather, would you identify yourself and any professional title you might have, just so we can get to know you better here. This is Miss Lindsay.
Thank you. This is indeed a surprise. I had hoped somebody else in Oxford would do this honor. I have not known Clifford but a very few years, but we got to be very good friends, and we always always look forward to sharing a good joke with each other every Tuesday. I can't share them with you. They were a little risque, but I certainly will miss him. I know that he has done this his way, and that's the way it should be done. Thank you.
I don't see that long line for him. What's happening?
My name is Bill, and thank you for inviting me over. And I've been knowing Cliff since 1979, and it's been a long time, even though you guys don't know me, but he was playing somebody else in the stoppages with Christine, Gary, Felicita. I never done anything, Bill. Just go ahead, clear it. They will pay you. But he was a great friend to me. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't think I need the microphone. One thing Cliff always said about me is I talked a lot. I told him I had a license to talk because I was a lawyer. I met Clarke about 40 years ago. I had worked at juvenile hall. And then I met him down at the probation department when we were going through orientation, when we've been deputized as deputy probation officers. I guess the best thing that I ever did for him was introduce him to the cheetah. And then as a result of that, we had Christine and Gary here, which is probably his greatest achievements. And I was very happy, as I always told him, that the babies came out looking like cheetah. I knew that he had grown up in San Pedro, and I grew up on the east side of town over by 51st and Ascot. And I always told him that he was the kind of guy that he came up into LA looking for the pretty girls because they didn't have them pretty girls out in San Pedro. But anyway, we had lots of fun together, and I used to have to keep him because he was one of the guys that they first thought about having road rage. When we'd be out and somebody would cut him off, he'd jump out the car and want to get on him, you know.
Just like
I'd have to go get the little rascal and bring him back. But later on, I got to be his lawyer, and then we formed a law partnership association. At least it was Morris, Caglion, Beckwith, Brooke, Robinson, Goodwin, and Clarke. And the first four guys, we were all probation officers, and Goodwin worked for the post office department. And then Cliff came in. But we had a good time together, and he was the kind of guy, as everybody said, he lived life the way he wanted to, and he did the kind of things he wanted to, so this can be a happy occasion. Don't feel sorry for him. He enjoyed it all.
My name is Abe Moore, and I'm past president of the Masters Club, of which Cliff was a member. The Masters Club was a subgroup under the Los Angeles Division. It composed of 12, we had 4 tables, Swiss teams, about 16 men. Bob was Duchess Tourist, and we thought we were the better bridge players. I don't know how much truth it is, but we thought we were good bridge players. But in all seriousness, we enjoyed being around Cliff. And he filled a spot in our hearts when we played with him. And we're sure going to miss him.
My father was a big Bruin fan, as everybody knew. He went to UCLA, graduated back in the 50s. And one of the things that he is very proud of as far as being a Bruin fan is the fact that when he was a student there, he sat up in the stands on the student side of the section one day when they were playing USC. And USC had just scored a touchdown. And in the old days, the Trojan horse would ride around the entire stadium after each touchdown. If you notice nowadays, the Trojan horse only goes around one side of the stadium. That's because of my father. My father apparently had an apple that the Trojan horse rotten apple that as a Trojan horse went around the side of the UCLA Bruin section, he threw it and hit the guy in the head and knocked him off the horse. I just want everybody to know that that's what my father's very proud of.
Don't think you've gotten away with it. He'll come back to hunt you. Do the wrong thing or say the wrong thing, whatever. The floor is still open. If there are others who want to. I can't tell jokes. I can just stand up here and wait for your participation. So anybody that has got some nerve, come right on up. What? Mr. Banks?
I knew that'd be Frank.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Ronald Banks, and I'm not sure I'm qualified to speak about Clifford, having known him only 4 or 5 years. But my cohorts wanted me to represent another part of Clifford's life that you didn't know about, the bootleg bridge group. That he got tired of playing real bridge, came over to Ms. Wallace's house on Tuesday night and met with us. Now, if the governing bodies of bridge knew what we do over there and called it playing bridge, they would probably ban whatever we do. Some people call it a whisk with a kitty. But the point is that knowing Clifford for the last 4 or 5 years, there were a couple of things that, knowing the man as intelligent as he was and the things that he was involved in, certainly in terms of his legal profession, that he could kind of get down with this common group of fools on Tuesday night. And even though he brought a certain dignity to the group, it wasn't that kind of aloof dignity that I'm here to, you know, look down at what you folks are doing. He became a part of it, but he did it in his own way with this type of dignity that was kind of steeped in intelligence. And he was a little older than me, and I kind of don't own up to people really quickly, but I kind of hung back and kind of learned from Clifford. There was a lot of wisdom there, there was a lot of dignity, there was a lot to be learned even at our stage in life. The other part of it is he had to, even though some of the stories have been told would fly in the face of that, he had a lot of patience because I'm sure his children can attest to that, because even though it probably wasn't expressed all the time, the things that we did and the things that he went through, as I said, being a part of our group, every now and then I'd catch his eye and there would be a slight shake of his head like, I don't know what I'm doing here. But it is a change of pace and it is a chance to let my hair down. And finally, as everybody is attesting to, the thing that most impressed me, besides being a Bruin fan, which I am, I wore my little pen just for his honor, is his sense of humor. Clifford was a joke teller, but his sense of humor was in a lot of ways very subdued. Didn't see Clifford laugh out loud a lot, but if you watch real closely and things were going on all around us, and Clifford and I very rarely got a word in this group because the noise level is such that you couldn't hear yourself think. But every now and then we'd make eye contact and I'd see a little crinkle around his eyes and we'd make eye contact and Clifford and I knew what was going on. He was the one who knew what was going on. There was a sense of humor about him. And I told him when he did become ill, wasn't able to come over the last few Tuesdays, he called and I told him at that point that you got to get back, buddy. We miss you and we need you. And he did make his appearance about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and that was the last time I saw him. And I'll just say it again, Clifford, wherever you are, we will miss you, but we won't forget you.
I am Shirley Andrews. I'm not a good bridge player, but Clifford was doing his best to help me. The last Tuesday that we played together, he said, you played that hand well. Usually, he was trying to help me to play a hand better. I couldn't remember the cards that I had in my hand, but he could remember the cards he had in his hand, in my hand, and my dummy's hand. And he would tell me what to do. Clifford didn't get that way by just saying, oh, I want to be